strange. But well,
I mean, for me, it's kind of yes and no, because generally outdoor gigs you've got a bit more room. So as far as stage work goes,
not treading over cables as much.
Yeah, you're not tripping over everyone else.
I think you pretty much approach it the same way.
I mean, I'm when playing live, I don't like to stay still, so I like larger stages. So playing outdoor stages where they're much bigger gives me a lot more room to move up and down the stage and interact with the crowd more.
So it's like a devil on the stage, you know. So the more space, the better.
Yeah.
And safer.
I was just thinking, until you said that, it never even occurred to me that obviously the acoustics are very, very different in an outside environment to an inside environment, and I just wondered how that affected, if it affected, the way that you approach a performance. I don't know, does it? It's a question.
Try and focus the sound check a little bit more in the warm-up. I mean, with this, it's sort of set up very much with line checks. So just a sort of quick line check before we go on, but it's just a little bit more important, I think, in regards to the monitoring, making sure you can hear everyone else's parts, because obviously you're not getting the enclosed sound of a venue where you're going to be bouncing back off the walls when it's playing out to a couple of thousand people in an amphitheatre coming out, and it's obviously grass out there as well, not a massive resonant surface bouncing back at you. So getting your levels on stage, it's those sort of stages you sort of wish you had your in-ear monitoring with you to all be set. But it is really nice playing on outdoor stages. I do like a good outdoor festival. Especially when it's good weather. It's just a nice.
It's amazing.
It's a lovely buzz.
Yeah, it just gives it's a different feel.
Especially if you've got lots of people, if you've got a good sound, you know, it's just absolutely fantastic. It depends a lot on the sound man as well, obviously. But if you play bigger clubs and bigger festivals, the sound is usually very professional, you know. So.
I think the key to a good gig is in-ear monitoring. Monitoring full stop has to be right. Even like in small venues, I'm next to Dom's drums, and sometimes I can't hear my guitar. And I'm right next to my amp, and I can't hear my amp, even though I'm standing right next to it. You think, so yeah, it's definitely important I have my own sort of microphone up, put my amp, my own in-ear, so I can control my own volume regardless of the sound man.
Okay. Oh, thank you for that.
I think what's nice about a festival as well is you know you're getting a large percentage of crowd that haven't seen you before.
Yes.
So you get a chance to really put yourself across again. I mean, it's been nice actually in the local gigs starting to see faces I don't recognise, because obviously it's nice to have your little following that are coming, and that's growing. But it's nice to see each time some new faces, each time just adding on to it.
Brilliant. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about we've heard about folk, we've heard about blues, we've heard about different types of influences. So I'm going to ask you now, what are your musical influences? And individually, well, was it always going to be music for you as your career, or I know we were talking a little bit off air a little earlier about what you were doing on Valentine's Day with your career. You can talk about that if you wish to. So when you were a little bit younger, did you have other aspirations, or was it always going to be music? So one by one, what do you think?
For me, it's always been music. Started playing music when I was 6 years old. You know, played a variety of different instruments. Picked up a bass guitar when I was 11. And never really looked back. But yeah, and like biggest influences for me, like growing up, kind of changed. But just like main heavy bands like Slipknot are a massive influence on me in the way I play, the way I perform. Like everything. I mean, I've seen them live a few times, and everything about their stage show is just. It was just incredible, so I very much try and take as much of that in. And like music, playing styles, I can't really say who's influenced the way I play, because I've been playing for a while now and just kind of developed my own way of doing it, so couldn't really pinpoint one person or a series of artists.
Who do you listen
to? Me,
Where do you start?
Yeah, pretty much. Varies day by day.
Okay.
Being kind of going on a bit of a ghost binge at the moment, because they released their new album this year, which was fantastic. So I'm kind of feeling that at the moment. But you've got a new Slipknot album coming out this year, which I'm very excited for. So.
Fair enough. Okay, moving on.
Okay. So I was talking about my musical stuff. I mean, I grew up on thrash metal.
Excellent.
Slayer, Metallica, Black Sabbath, AC/DC, Nirvana, Meshuggah. But yeah, you get a bit older and then you grow up a little bit. I still listen to them and they're still fantastic, but your taste, they widen a little bit. vary. So I'll be honest with you, I listen to anything as long as it's not R&B, then it's fine by me. So I like Arcade Fire actually, really into them at the moment. Brilliant band, a really good live band. I think everyone should go and see is Wolf Alice.
All right.
I just love the variety in the music and the guitar playing and the layering in the guitars and the vocals and the drumming. The drummer is incredible. So anyone go and check them out. They're really good. Should promote them,
What
shouldn't I?
about career aspiration when you were little?
I've always played music
Yeah.
since I was 14 and picked up the guitar. I mean, my life has been always about music. I've played in bands, I've played drums in bands, covers band, Dom. But in terms of actually thinking, will I get anywhere with it? I was kind of realistic, but with this band, there might be a chance.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Moving around.
Okay, well, with me, I like all sorts of music. Really, you know, I've been doing music since I was a little girl. Like I was 6 years old. I studied classical music as well, and I like all sorts of bands. Like I don't know, from Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Deep Purple, Nirvana, UFO, you know, so like a classic rock. Recently, I listened quite a lot a band which is called Gojira. I think they're absolutely fantastic. I'd love to go and see them live. Also, I like a band which is called In This Moment. I really like their last album. It's a female fronted American band, which I think could be quite a good inspiration as well. Although their music is quite simple, I think it's so powerful that I really love it. From the local scene, I really like a band which is called Black Peaks. I think that's a brilliant band, so if you don't know them, definitely check them out. Yeah, and like I really like all sorts of music. I love blues, I love jazz, everything.
Well, that's it.
Fair enough.
I love lamp. Mine, I think I was quite lucky with my family actually, from mum and dad's collection of 7 inches and albums just sitting around the house, just playing with those as a kid, really. Anything from Roberta Flack, Squeeze, Prince Buster, up to sort of my sister had a lot of influence on me growing up, especially through the 80s. I mean, we're lucky to have some gems through the 80s with Prince and Jackson, Huey Lewis and News. Everything else, and then because my sister's 5 years older, sorry, 4.5 years older, she would sort of pull me early into bands that she was getting into, sort of early days of Nirvana and Alice in Chains. Heavily got me into the grunge scene. That really got me into Rage Against the Machine, who are probably still one of my standard go-tos anytime I'm listening to music. That's always been a big influence on me. I was actually a violinist from when I was 6.
Wow.
So played a lot of classical music, but it's very that sort of style and group of people at the time was very much sort of bow ties, shirts, a lot of, it feels quite a regimented environment. And as you're sort of getting into teenage years, it's you want to be able to do something else. But
Pull away from that.
yeah, that training definitely helped me musically to be able to learn other instruments. And when I popped on the drums, it was just once I sat down, it was never looking back really from then on. And it's from then on, yeah, I always listen to a lot. It's always been for rhythm for me, so a lot of heavy rhythms. So Prodigy, a lot of hip hop, a lot of Chemical Brothers, alongside heavy rock. But there's a big thing about melody as well for great singers. So Steve Marriott and Small Faces and Chris Cornell, rest in peace, obviously, one of my favourite singers in there. Yeah, so that marriage of Rage Against the Machine and Cornell's voice to make the Audio Slave album, that was a beautiful album when that came out.
Oh, that album was great.
So, yeah, from there really.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, guys, and thank you very much for coming in today, because we really do